Hello and welcome to Life and Fight of a podcast, a UKFC fighter edition. So we've got today Lewis McGrillen from Manchester Top Team. How's it going, Lewis?
Doing good, thank you.
So we're quickly going to touch on yourself, give people a bit of a background about you, people that may not know you, or if they do know you, a bit more information. So you're an amateur MMA fighter as of right now. Your record is 7-1, is that right?
Yep.
So we'll start with the one first. It was on UK Fighting Championships. It was against Francis Breen. You was obviously young in career. You're 19 now. Was that when you were around 16, that fight?
Yeah, I was 16.
So obviously it was early in your career. What did you take from that fight? What did you feel like? Did it make you a better fighter in any way? Did you underestimate Fran? What did it take from you?
I think I've evolved so much as a fighter. I thought I'd probably just a bit of a scrappy fighter, like to wrestle, but since my game's evolved so much since that loss, I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Truthfully, yeah.
That's a great mindset to have. So before that, so 7-1 as an amateur. Now you are technically 2-1 on UKFC. If we talk about the loss, so the first ever, actually debut was on our show. So it was Alfie Walker. That was the same year. And then you was on ice, and then Fran, and then since then the momentum's quite kind of picked up. Obviously, you've grown into your own as a fighter. You're older now. You're 19. You're getting into the prime of your physical as a young career anyway. So your last fight with us was in December when you fought and won the UKFC Flyweight Championship in Steve Andrews. How did you take that fight? It was 5 rounds. What did you expect? What did you take from it? And what has happened since?
I expected him to be very tough, and very technical on the ground. He was decent off his back, and I knew I was prepared for 5 rounds because I knew anything could happen in a fight. It only just takes one punch, doesn't it? So as I was in that fight, I just enjoyed it loads. I love it.
You really, from when I was watching it, grinded him out. It was this infamous picture if you see from Instagram with I think it's like me. There is Lofthouse, a few of us that are literally all just watching that fight. Literally, it was a war, but you was it looked like you was comfortable. You were grinding him out. You knew that his submission game was very good, but you weren't bothered about going down to the ground. And you knew you wrestled him superior. You was willing to strike with him. So building up to that fight, you won the ICE FC title. Was that against JJ? Is that right?
JJ Jones, yeah.
So obviously, size-wise, and I'm not trying to about your height. Most of your opponents are taller than you, but JJ probably one of the first where he was smaller than you, or maybe a similar size. How was that different for you? How did you take that? Because he's a bit like you. He's scrappy. He's durable. What did you take from that, and how did you prepare for
it? I knew he's very strong in grips, and he likes to pressure you against the cage. And I knew about that fight was all about composure, be very mature in the fight, no smothering your work. I've watched previous people who could have beaten him quicker, but they smothered the work, and I took a bit of like what their game plans to win and my own game plan in a sense, and looked how to dissect my opponent basically. I knew wait for him to come in and counter him with my shots and stuff. It was just probably one of my favourite fights I've ever had, really.
Good. It's great that you took away from that. So you're now at Manchester Top Team, the newly crowned team of Manchester, which is my hometown, just like yours, pride. That's under Carl Prince. Where did you start your career, though? Was it always under Carl? Was it a different gym? What made you get into this sport?
I had a friend when I was in school. He did a bit of MMA, and I used to have little grapples with him, like on the actual turf, wrestling around and stuff. And then he said, "You're pretty decent. You know what you're doing." Because I watched a bit of UFC, and then he said, "Come down." I did a few sessions at a few local gyms, 12 gauge, and then I stopped for a bit because I was playing football, and then I joined All Powers, and then Brendan Loughnane was my coach then, and then Brendan actually was a bit busy doing his own thing, trying to pursue his career into the UFC, and then Carl took over, and he became a coach at All Powers before we formed into Manchester Top Team.
So when are you from close to All Powers in Manchester top team? Because All Powers is South Manchester, more or less. Is that right? Stockport end.
Yeah.
Are you from the end? And obviously, is Manchester top teams? Is that Ashton sort of way? So that's it's North Manchester. Which one are you close to?
I'm close to All Powers. I'm from Wivenshaw, so I have to
Manchester.
Yeah, I have to get 2 trams to Manchester top team.
Wow. But I think because you're comfortable with Carl now and there's a team around you, which is a phenomenal team, which we'll touch on in a minute, I think you sort of know that your mindset is it's 2 trams. You probably stay there for quite a while, a few hours anyway. You might do PTs or whatever. But Manchester top team, what do you feel like that brings, and why do you feel like that's sort of the next level, especially for fighters? Anyone that you like to train with, spar with? Is any coaches you think that's the reason that you love to be there?
Just the bodies. Like, I have killers on the mat. It's like, we have the Russians, we have Ibrahimov, can't really pronounce his name, Magdi Jarif. Oh, they're crazy grapplers, relentless wrestlers. I've got good partners, Link Strong, Jake Jenks, Lofty, Larone, always getting rounds with Larone, Kane, Musa. Even new people come down, like sometimes the Aspire lot come down, AVT, and it's just so much knowledge. Like Steve Henshaw, he does a bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like ground and pound and stuff like that to mix up with the ground game, and it's just so much knowledge I learn. It's just like I go there and I'll learn about 5 things. Even off them after a session, I'll ask a little bit like, how do we do this, and then they'll help me out and have one-to-ones with me as well.
It's funny you mentioned Kane because you're repping him right now in his Badar brand.
Yeah.
What do you like? You've got animals in there like your Kane Musa. What's it like to have that sort of caliber and fighter? Obviously, his mindset is quite strong, and he's all about obviously what he's been through in his past. Trying to, a lot of positiveness, trying to give back the Badar brand, teaching. His career's completely changed now. He's fighting on big brands, and obviously you've got one of his closest friends in Brendan, your original coach. What's it like to have people like that around you?
It's major. Like, it's around good, positive people who want to pursue something, but all from the same type of life. Like, obviously, certain people have come down different paths, and then they come from probably their lowest of lows, and they've changed their life around. And they're just from Manchester, aren't they? And like, they're from the estate, and they're just pursuing their life to be something great. Like, you look at Loughnane, he's in the UFC now. He fought Zabero, and it's major. It's like, I look up to him. Do you know what I mean? It's major.
With Brendan, obviously at the minute he's signed with the PFL. I think the season's supposed to start. I think it's in the next couple of months. Depending on what's going on now. What, obviously, being close to him, you feel like he's going to win it and stuff. But if you look at it from a fan point of view as well, how excited are you to watch someone like that you've looked up to like this on a stage like the PFL? Because I've watched literally all of the PFL shows before Brendan even signed anyway, and I feel like I prefer that sort of format because it's something you can follow. Like you can probably, for argument's sake, say Brendan loses his first one, doesn't mean it's over for him. Then the guy that beats him, or even if Brendan beats that guy, you might go, oh, he's pretty cool, and I might want to follow him for the rest of his career. That's what I feel like that does. It gives you 12 fighters in that roster. I feel that's a good format. How do you feel like that will fit into Brendan's sort of game plan as a long-term? Because he'll be fighting like every 4 weeks, more or less.
Yeah. I think that's what he wants to do. He loves to fight, doesn't he?
Yes.
I just think, I think that's gonna be great for him. I think he works so hard. I've seen. You see on his Instagram and everything, social media. He literally does what he does what he does real life, what he does on his social media. He works hard, he grinds hard. I've probably never met a harder person who can grind harder than him. And I think he's just gonna get more experience, and he probably lay down one of the best ever fighters to fight out of England, even though he's not even in the UFC, which I think when he smashes this tournament, or I think definitely the UFC will definitely come calling for him.
Yeah, I think obviously there was maybe controversy is a wrong word to use, but when he did the Contender Series, and it turned out that out of the 5 people on that show, he's the only one that didn't get signed, and there was a bit of backlash between him and Dana. And when he fought Mike Wilkinson in the Ultimate Fighter, I thought he won that fight. The Contender Series, he dominated, but he shot for a takedown. I just feel like he should be there, but I feel like the stuff now like Bellator's more of a free agency side, the PFL are offering good money. I feel like his career's not lost, and he's the same age as me, around 30. I feel like he can now get into his prime. Do you ever speak to him about his path? Do you want to sort of follow in his footsteps? Do you ever like ring him up, speak to him, Instagram, whatever it may be, even if it's face to face, and ask him any sort of questions about how the sort of mentality in his path that he's gone that you may want to follow?
I speak to him when I was over in Las Vegas with Carl, and he came over because he was scheduled to fight on PFL then. I think his first fight, and I was just speaking to him, and he was just telling me he's just enjoying it. He enjoys the process and stuff. I get the energy from him. Doesn't really have to tell me at times, or I have to ask him, because when you have that around that such energy, you know what he's about. Do you know what I mean? And Brendan, I know what Brendan's all about, and like what he does, and like that's how I just see it, just from the energy. I don't really need to ask him. Do you know what I mean?
That makes sense. So for you, what sort of, obviously, we'll touch on UKFC and a possible opponent next that we're working on, obviously, with everything going on. What's next for you, sort of, obviously, forget the lockdown right now, and obviously that's going on. What's your sort of 12 to 2-year plan? Is it to get as many amateur fights under your belt? Is there certain opponents you want to go after, that number one spot? Is it anyone that you're looking for, or anything that you want to cover, like the EMAS or anything?
I want to fight, obviously, Zach Fry for Febby title. I'd love to get a few more amateur bouts. I would love to fight. I would love to eventually be lost against Francis Breen. That's the number one for me before I can turn pro by the end of the year or something.
So you want that? You want that before? Right? That'll be a good night. I enjoyed the first one. If we can put the second one on, or wherever it may be, that'll be very, very cool.
I would love that. Yeah.
Is obviously, so your aim is by the end of this year, and then look 2021 to turn pro? Is that sort of the goal right now?
Me and Carl spoke about it a little bit. We reckon around probably just early next year, mid next year, professional might make. He reckons it could make sense for me or something. Just a few more bouts of amateur.
Cool. So with the amateur side, is the IMAF something you want to do, or are you just thinking it's not really something that you feel like you'll be comfortable with because it's a different sort of mindset fighting back to back, or do you prefer the mentality, or do you want to test yourself in that? What's your thoughts?
I'm not really a big. Oh, you still there? Can you see me?
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of the IMFs myself. Like, I don't like the shin guards and stuff, but that's just my opinion.
Of course.
But I'm not really a fan of that. I just prefer fighting like now, and then just like normal amateur fights, and then pro from there. It's similar. The build up to the fight, the weight cut, it's very professional. What we do amateurs, it's not far off from professional. So that's how I see it. It's just closer to professional. Like there's just no elbows and knees to the head, is there? That's all it is.
You're completely right. I was speaking to Liam McGrillen, who's our featherweight champion, earlier on today, and he literally said, word for word, what you said. It's as close to a raw pro fight as you can get at amateur. It's literally a couple of extra ounces on the gloves. There's elbows, and you can then knee to the face. That is basically the difference, which is crazy. And Carl will tell you, Brendan will tell you, all the guys that were doing amateur like myself 10, 12 years ago, the amateur back then was a lot different than the amateur now. And I feel like the calibre fighters that are coming through they would walk through the amateurs of 10 years ago for fun. Maybe one or two will be a bit different, like your Brendans and your Dean Garnetts and stuff, which will just kill us. But I feel like yourself, Liam McGrillen, Marlon Jones, people like that, I feel like would walk through most pros anyway. Is there a mindset going into pro? Are you already obviously you spoke to Carl, are you thinking about, right, in 18 months time I'm more going to be pro? Are you looking to get as much experience out of amateur? Do you want the harder fights to get the ring time, or are you looking to sort of like, okay, I want to now I want to go into that fight, I want to finish someone by submission because I've not done a submission in a while? What's your mindset going into the next 18 months?
The first thing that comes, like the next opponent, I'll focus on him. And then whatever comes about from that, I'll prepare for whatever's next after that. I don't like, because you can't really think ahead of something what's not even been yet before that. So I'll think about fighting him, fighting the next, probably get another fight whoever I want, and then see how the results of that. And then I might see what professionals saying. That's how I see it.
So next opponent that we've got lined up for you at UKFC to defend your title is Zach Fry. He's young fighter like yourself. He's tall. He's Ranger. He called you out after beating your teammate in Jake Jenks in February. Was he someone that was on your radar? How do you feel like that fight will go? And what's your thoughts of him as an opponent?
I've always thought he's a possibility of opponent because he's a UKFC regular. He's local from Preston, innit? It's one of his gym home shows. I just think I can't wait to fight him. Like, he's talking now, innit? I feel like because he's got a win over my teammate, he can have a go against me, and I just want to show him what a fight is.
Yeah, I've seen posts of he's tagged UKFC in a few things on Instagram, saying that he's still hard at work. I think it'll be a great fight. I think it's stylistically a great match to watch. I feel like because you're both young in your careers still, there's nothing technical to lose. You could go in there and try and put on a performance, and then, like you say, you could call out Fran for the rematch, look at someone else if that is, or let's see how that fight goes. You look at Zach beating your teammate in Jake. Great name, by the way, in Jake. What do you think? What means more to you? And I know it's everything, so I don't mean that. Is it defending your title? Is it defending against another loss, or is it avenging Jake? If that makes sense.
All three.
All three.
All three. I just see it. I just think it's funny how, like, he was so quiet, and then when he was fighting certain opponents, and then when he beat my teammate, he's all of a sudden I feel like he's just going to set of balls, and I just want to put him in his place, and that's how I see it. Really, it's personal to me. He's probably taking it personal, but that's how I see it. I just see it's a fight, and I'm ready to fight.
Sometimes, maybe the strong word using animosity, but maybe that's what you need, a bit of banter between you, something that you're trying to get avenged that loss. He's coming for your belt. He's got more to prove than you, in the fact that he wants to make sure that he wants to get that belt. He wants to show that he's number one in the country. Technically you're number one in the country in most people's eyes, and yourself as well, and your coaches. You're looking to defend that number one spot. You want to defend that belt. You want to defend your gym's honour to prove that the Blackburn Predators haven't got the one over your gym. So he's on UKFC on Instagram and saying that, oh, I'm keeping busy. Well, how's the lockdown affected you and your training? How are you keeping busy? How are you keeping fit and active?
It's funnily enough, it's like I've got a little gym apocalypse going on. I've got my own little MMA mats. I've got punch bag. I've got a grappling dummy. So I'm like semi-prepped, but it's not the same, is it, really, without no bodies, no sparring partners, no one to drill with.
It's very, very different. Like I say, I was speaking to Liam Cracken before. He's fortunate enough that his teammate in Scott Johnson is engaged to his sister, so he's moved in with him. Yeah. So that's perfect for him to keep going. But that's a rarity. Like myself, yourself, Zach may be lucky. I think he might say he's living with his brother or whatever in Corey. It's a completely different mindset, and to keep your mind active, to go, it's for a reason, because you could go to the gym and you've not technically got a choice. You've got to train with your Canes, your Magdies, your Lynx, your Jakes, all of them. You've got no choice but to roll, span. It keeps your mind active and your body in physical shape. Whereas when you're on your own and you sort of like, when you've got a home mindset, home's like to relax, to watch a bit of TV, to sleep. You just got to get out of that routine. Is there anything you're doing? Are you like a strict person at home where you're going, right, I'm getting up at this time, I'm going to train at this time, then I'm going to get something to eat? Are you blocking it all off, or are you going, right, I'm going to at least train 2 or 3 times a day, keeping myself active, don't care where it is, I'm just going to do it when I feel like it? How is it for you?
Just trying to stay active, like always. I can't sit on all day. I just can't do that. I go crazy if I do that. So I'm still training, I'm still staying active, getting me miles in, running. I'm just staying active. It's just like, it's no different. It's just still training to me, just with a few facilities gone, really, no bodies, but probably just doing a Tony Ferguson, just training on my own.
I seen was it on Instagram, a little joke video from yourself with you and your girlfriend. Is she becoming now your number one training partner? Are you teaching her a few things to try and keep your mind active as well?
Just padding off. She wants to like keep fit because she's out of work. So I was like, come do a bit of pads. I'll get you a little circuit going. So she's enjoying that. So yeah, just doing that.
That's cool. So with regards to the lockdown then, is there anything that you're doing that you wouldn't normally do? So you're spending a lot more time at home. Are you watching anything? Are you listening to music? Are you playing computer games? What are you doing in between sort of the keeping active?
If I'm not training, I'll be playing my Xbox, playing UFC, or just watching Netflix documentaries and stuff and that. Yeah.
Anything on Netflix you've been watching?
Been watching that Tiger King, you know, it's a bit weird.
It is very weird. I've literally, every person has mentioned this in the last few weeks and sort of podcasts I'm doing, how strange it is. 2 questions then. Did Carol Baskin kill her husband?
Yeah, therefore.
Have you finished it all, by the way?
I'm on the last episode.
Right, I won't ask second question. I'll speak to you on Instagram after this or sort of on Facebook or something. I'll ask second question off it when you've finished. It is crazy. There's a lot of things on there that you question that it could, like, it's not set up, but it just seems so surreal. That you think, who is this person? Who's your favourite character in it? That could be a good second question.
Is it exotic? What's his
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic. Yeah, I think he's off his head. He's crazy, isn't he? He don't care.
He doesn't care. He really doesn't. Anything else you've been watching?
Not really. No, I've just been watching that, or I've been going on Fight Pass, watching 24 Hours Fight Pass. Yeah. That's
not a bad shout. I like we were saying before about the PFL. I was doing a podcast last week where I recommend it because it's all on their Facebook, all the events, to start from the beginning, because you've got 3, 4, 5 hour events, like 20 of them. That could fill a lot of time. Fighters that you don't know, fighters that you do know. We've been watching. What did we watch a couple of weeks ago? We watched like UFC. 61. Hughes versus Penn. Like all the old stuff, just because I've got time to go back with a few mates, do something like this, have it on in the background, a bit like a watch along, a bit like you say Joe Rogan Experience does, stuff like that. What's your mentality over the next few weeks then? So technically the event on May 23rd is still going ahead. That most likely will change because we're at the situation we're in, and we'll probably reschedule it for later in the year. What's your mindset? Are you thinking, right, take it day by day, or have you got sort of goals that you're going to hit over the next few weeks to keep yourself, like, are you keeping an eye on your weight, or is that just not something you're thinking about right now?
I'm going to keep my weight down. Christmas I've blown up a bit too much, so I'm keeping my weight down. And I'm just going to, still a fight. I still know there's someone out there I know who wants to beat me up, and I'm not allowing that. And like, he wants my belt. He probably sees what I've got. He wants it, and knowing that he's there and wants that, or any other flyweight, I'm not letting them have that. And I'm still going to train, even though we're on lockdown. I'm still training. I'm still doing something. I'm still staying active, and I'm ready for whatever he throws at me. I'm ready for it. Because even with no bodies going on, I'm still going to figure it out to train. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. So let's touch on the man that's running Manchester Top Team then, in Carl Prince. How do you, are you still in contact with him on a daily basis or every few days? Is he checking in with you and the team? Or are you checking on teammates? What's it like to have Carl around? Obviously, his connections, his experience, everything rolled into one. What's it like to have Carl around?
Carl's mint. He's my MMA dad. He actually just sent me something on WhatsApp right now. I still speak to him all the time. Just chat to him about the gym, training. I even asked for a few little drills and footwork and stuff, and then he'll send me over a few notes, and then I'll jot them down and I'll practice it, even a bit of like shadowing and like what to do with feints and stuff. And he helps me out loads. Always.
What's the transition like been from All Powers to Manchester Top Team? Obviously, you said about the travel and stuff. Do you feel like anything has really changed, or do you feel like it's just the same? Everyone's got the same goals. It's technically the same team. With regards to as Carl made it more structured, is he more laid back because he knows you as fighters? What has anything changed?
Just more people, more bodies now. We've got our own space because we were with the Muay Thai, but just pure MMA more now. Just so much benefits come out of it. Our own facility for a start. Like I said, the bodies, the Russians have joined. The the coaching's better. It's more structured now. It's just top. It's top team. Yeah.
So if anyone was watching you for the first time via this podcast or this interview, didn't know you, or thinking about getting into this sport, first question, what would you say to someone that likes the sport and thinking about training? And the second question is, if they're in the locality amongst the top team, why should they train there?
Thing to get into MMA, it's something different. It's an up and coming sport. It's probably the fastest growing sport in the world. I think just try it out. And the top team, everyone's welcome there. There's all levels, the highest levels, and there's beginners and everything. And don't be shy to just come along and have a go.
Sweet. So, if anyone did want to follow you on Instagram or social media, what are your handles? How can people follow your career now?
You can follow me on Instagram, Lewis MCG MMA 2000, and my page on Facebook is Lewis McGrillen MMA.
Cool. So, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go? Any sponsors, teammates, anything like that?
I want to thank all my team, even before all this lockdown, training with me, my family, my friends, the support, my girlfriend, for keeping me sane, cooking me nice meals. So yeah.
Any sponsors or anything, or?
I mean, I've not got a sponsor yet, but I'm looking into one now. Actually, I'm in talks. So
if you want to sponsor Lewis, one of the fastest growing athletes, please get in touch or get in touch with us and we can pass you on to Lewis. Before we let you go then, last words for Zach coming forward. What have you got to say to Zach?
Be ready, because I am.
Nice one, Lewis. Appreciate your time, pal. We'll speak again soon. Need anything, let us know.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, pal.